Yes, and we're back. I got a few videos in the tuck for you guys. I know I haven't been posting, but I have been recording. I will be posting them starting today. I got about four heaters that's gonna go up. I may do two today, two tomorrow. But y'all just stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe at the end of the video. We're going to get into some interesting concepts I've noticed. For you all who celebrated Valentine's Day, kudos to you. Okay. Nothing wrong. Like I said, if you got a chick that's been solid and she's into that, sometimes it's a small investment for a bigger goal, depending on what you want to do and how you want to, build your home. We have to play these games, unfortunately, if you get into if you sign up. You only play the games if you sign up. So a lot of guys, they want to sign up for the game, but don't understand the rules that come with the game versus, hey, I'm going to do my own game. These are my rules. You have choices. Just understand each choice has a consequence and a trade-off. What I noticed, and I was talking to my guy about this recently, I said a lot of women that I've noticed are suffering from option overload. They don't understand the times that we're in. Everything is different. Everything is pretty much social media driven. So women are suffering from this delusion that they have endless options because you have the beta male orbiters in her DMs, in her stories, in her comments, hyping her up. But the women are oblivious in a lot of cases, thinking that these men actually want to be in a relationship with them versus just being a sexual conquest. For the market of a lot of men, especially you younger guys, I know if you're not in a certain pool, if you're not in that certain top 10 to 15%, you're not really getting women like that. These women are buying dick. I said this, the roles are going to change. You have women buying these sensual massages, and not hating on the guys who getting their money. I'm with that. Break them the same way they will break a trick who's horny. So these women are now saying, you know what, I'll just pay for the pleasure that I would like to receive for today or tonight, whatever the case may be, because their relationship muscles have deteriorated. They're no longer working. They're not in relationship shape because of the social media propaganda. See, what you're watching now, you're seeing these cat fights and they're trying to keep them on the low. They're seeing these women malfunctioning. Look at Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez. They haven't uttered a peep about it. They haven't said one word since this new information has came out. They want to sweep it under the rug because to expose this is going to open up a can of worms. Even with the Cardi B, everybody's rooting for Cardi B and winning the 3 million with Tasha K. But this is the same woman who went on record to say she was drugging men and having transformers come in and violate these same men. So she would be held to a standard for that or held on trial for that because that is indeed a crime, and not sure what the statute of limitations is. I'm not a lawyer, but if you notice, these women have this innate fear. I wouldn't even say it's innate. It's a learned behavior. They have a fear of settling. And they don't have a fear of settling for a guy who does not meet their physical or financial standard. They have a fear of settling for a man who is the exact opposite of them, which is indeed a reflection of them. They don't want the male version of themselves. This is why they hold the standard up so high. They want a man that's better than them because they know deep down they're not really that thing. They know in most cases. I just posted a video on my Instagram. You had this woman coming home, and before she walks into her apartment door, the other, I guess it's condos or whatnot, the other neighbor caught her on Ring camera. And she's wiping herself before she goes inside the house. This woman is wiping herself. More than likely, she had a sexual encounter before she comes home to her man. And she just walks in casually. Is it? I mean, no, absolutely no conscience. Absolutely no conscience. If you are wondering, because what we tend to do, we will revisit a situation and beat ourselves up, and we we spin ourselves into accepting fault or accepting guilt that is really not our fault or guilt to take. It's really not our fault, or the guilt is not on us to take it, to go back to be done the exact same way. So what a lot of guys tend to do, and I caught myself doing this, was going back and say, let me revisit, let me see if I was wrong. But in reality, when you break it down, you can't really add the extras and the fixtures and the contingencies and the exceptions to a standard that you set from the onset. Disrespect, I wouldn't even say loyalty, because I really wouldn't expect you to be loyal in a sense if I have not given you my last name. But if you sell yourself as being a loyal individual, if you sell yourself as being something that you turn out to not be, then that's where we would have a problem. But we know men and women lie and numbers don't, for the most part. Numbers can be manipulated, but for the most part, they're pretty accurate, because an intelligent person can match an observable reality with the statistics that are documented. We can go out and see the baby mothers and see 70 to 80% of, we can see this. But these women have a fear of settling, and it's the most awkward thing. These women come with child in tow, 32 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, some even 50 plus, thinking they're going to get their dream man. But again, they're looking for someone to settle with, even though they have a fear of settling. Women are the most duplicitous creatures. On one end, they would say they want a man to be honest, honorable, respectful, etc. And you give them that, they immediately try to transform you into the opposite: toxic, disrespectful. This is because this is what gets them off. This is, a lot of women cannot function outside of chaotic relationships. They don't know what a healthy, non-toxic relationship looks like. So they go back to what they know. Most of the time, I always say, observe women over time. In most cases, you'll see them make some money, but they're really not making the money to keep, because they're spending it. Women don't really get better over time. As a majority, they don't. They make more money to spit that shit right back into the community, into the economy. I wouldn't even say into the community, but they spit it back out to the economy. This fear of settling comes from knowing the shit that they have done, knowing the men that they are attracted to, and knowing themselves. They know they have a propensity to sabotage fruitful relationships, and because they don't see it right off the bat, they don't have the patience. Again, it's social media. Social media tells them that you have 100 guys looking to marry you, when in reality you have 98 guys looking to have sex with you, but they're not looking to lock in a long-term relationship. Because if you see a beautiful woman, I'm seeing this quite often. You see these beautiful women walk around, trot around, doing all these photo shoots and taking these pictures, and you have to ask yourself, why is this woman not with a guy who she admires? Well, why is she not building with the guy who's showing promise? Because women, they don't have foresight and vision as we do. The women who have a man with that, and she can identify that, she wins. I tell you this, I study these relationships. I look at guys I went to school with, women I went to school with, and I see them and their family is flourishing. They're living in a great community. They have the things that they want out of life. And most of the time when I see this as a couple, it is more than likely 99% of the time, it is from a high school sweetheart. It is a high school sweetheart who they didn't know what was to come about, but they had the attitude that we're going to win together. They had the attitude that I'm going to hold you down, and I'm going to make sure that we win. Women go into relationships and dating situations with I. She doesn't go into a relationship with what she's going to do for you. Just listen to them. All you have to do is sit back, listen, and observe. And this is for more so my purple pill. I notice the red pill perspective is getting a little watered down. It's getting it's getting tainted because it's too many concepts being thrown around. Red pill is nothing more than observing and understanding the world for what it is and how you are visioned or how you are viewed in it by the women, by the dominant society, by corporate America, by your social circle and your peers. That is the red pill in a sense. The red pill when it comes to dating is to not to trust any woman as far as you can see them. See, there again, I've done a video talking about the sexual underworld. When a woman is in her lust phase, or you want to call it hoe phase, she tends to give her best to the worst type of guy. The guy who truly who is imprinted by her, which is more so going to be a toxic relationship, is going to be some type of chaos, some abuse, some type of, toxic stimulant. It's going to be some arguing. It's going to be a lot of things that have these women paralyzed emotionally. They cannot give their best twice. So you see these women, again, they get up in age. They think time is on their side when time is on our side. Mother Nature gives you gifts in life. Father Time takes it away. Father Time takes it away. See, we have been fooled into thinking that we're one and the same, that we're alike. We're not. Time is on the man's side. That's why I have no pressure or fear. When I'm done building what I'm building, I would gladly go to Cambodia or the Caribbean, South America. It wouldn't be anything for me to go down here and pick a woman to follow suit. It wouldn't be a task that's impossible, because I would have the things that the women in these that are cut from that culture would look for. See, when she gives her best to a guy and he plays around with her emotions to the point that where she can no longer take it, because she can only take the emotional roller coaster for so long, and she can only take so much. She can take a lot, but she can only take so much before it disrupts her stability, before it drives her crazy, and in a lot of cases she'll get out. But the residual effects that follow her will not be ignored. They will be a problem. I did a video that I'm going to post also about the psychosexual connection which comes from sex. In most cases, you'll learn, if you're not having that raw, unadulterated, nasty, sensual sex that women adorn and love so much, it will be rare that you connect with her on a level that will keep her around. You will not be able to connect if you're not having the purest, rawest sex possible. Now, I'm not encouraging any raw dog activities. Oh, absolutely not. Because the last thing you want to become is a baby father. I'm not knocking guys who have children out of wedlock. A lot of men were not taught. A lot of men were taught incorrectly by the baby boomers and the generation that came before us, who were the first wave of weak men. They were the first wave of the stepdaddies, the first wave of the suitors that just go with the flow just to make sure they have some in-house sex. But now we're in a new age. We're in an age of information that is so abundant. We're in an age of observation that is so abundant that all you have to do is sit back and watch. And you have to be the bad guy in this process. I talk about being the bad guy. The bad guy is simply the guy who could not be fooled. It's simply the guy who could not be manipulated. It is simply the guy who understood the assignment. we became aware by experience, because you don't come to you don't get expertise in an area in which you don't have failure, you don't have a lot of experience, you don't have a lot of trials. So what you're coming into now is that women have the luxury of being the center of attention. That's why I say they control social media. They're gonna make sure you hear these women saying they're not on social media. That's bullshit. If she has a cell phone, she's on social media. She may not be active, but she's on there lurking, watching, observing, etc. The times that we're in now, a lot of women, they live above a reality in which they cripple themselves. They're going to become the next Amanda Seals, these beautiful women. I always say we have a bunch of beautiful fools walking around thinking they're educated, talking against natural order, talking against natural law, thinking that they're educated. They're indoctrinated. They're not educated. They're indoctrinated. We now live in a time to where a woman can spew and babble bullshit, and we have to sit down and listen to it just out of common respect, when in reality we need to, hey, you're talking nonsense and we're not going to entertain your conversation. We give too many people a platform to speak, which is okay to a certain degree. When you start spewing out ignorance and you're using these platforms as an emotional toilet, it can taint a lot of other souls who have not been exposed to the traumas that you have been exposed to. Once a woman gives her best, she can no longer duplicate that feeling for another man. She's only going to search to be coddled, to live in a constant state. This is the happy woman, a woman who is constantly talking about being happy, always being happy, doing this to make her happy, doing that to make her happy. She's suffering from a lot of emotional damage. Because a person that suffers from emotional damage does not live in reality. They live in a distorted reality. They live in their own world, because in their mind, that world keeps them safe from themselves. It keeps them safe from the perpetrators who may have wronged them at a young age, from the men who stole in their heart and stomped on it. So they live in this distorted reality, and they think the norms of society do not apply to them. They think people have this it'll never be me mentality. I'll never lose anything. I'll never die. I'll never go through a major illness. We have become a crazy people in a crazy world. That's why you must stay guarded, and you must keep your third eye open. You must lay off of the power, lay off of the social media, lay off of the trending items that constantly hit your timeline. If you mention men, or if it's a dick pic or video somewhere, these women are all over it like shit, like flies on shit. Yet they talk about men being the ones thirsty. You have men thirsty to the point to where they're even engaging in the conversations with the women about another man's phallus. They're talking about another man's phallus just so they can get attention from the women that ignore them on a daily basis. You got to tighten up, fellas. We're in a new age. I told you this is the age of Aquarius, this age of information, this age of discipline. A lot of guys, you don't have any discipline. You go through a drought, you go through a storm, you're ready to give in, and you're right back on the mediocre train. Let me get back to doing the old shit I used to do. Let me go back to my old job. Let me do this. You have to bet and believe in yourself. Bet on yourself. Win, lose, or draw. But no one can take that you tried. And the ones that have the most to say usually don't have shit going on anyway. This is Date Master, man. You guys let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.